one of the questions that I struggle with is, why is it that Indigenous women are considered disposable? Like, why are they murdering us and raping us at the rates that they are? And I don't know that here's one potential answer. I don't know if that's an answer. So it's really not a potential answer, it's a potential question. We are nature. We're not part of nature. We are nature. And when powers that be came in and colonized, we were separated from that as being nature, and then devalued as even being a human being. And they had to devalue us in order to take our land and to kill and genocide and all of the things. It didn't work because we're still alive, but the legacy and trajectory of that has so many impacts in terms of our own internalized colonization, how we think and feel about ourselves, in addition to how our communities think and see us. And so I feel like I want part of the solution to be stop killing us, stop raping us. Yet I'm wondering if also part of the solution is around us actually seeing and holding that belief for ourselves and turning into that full belief. So I don't know if I have an answer to the question, why us? Why are we considered disposable? Aside from they decoupled us from being nature so that people could profit, and that legacy is still alive. I don't know. What are your thoughts, especially from, I mean, we're talking about two different locations and it's present across the locations.
Yeah, it's as I'm listening, I'm to you and that hypothesis, let's say, I'm thinking how it is interesting that there's also the opposed explanation, right? Like saying women were totally linked to nature, as opposed to, at least in one period in time, right, where when a man like tried to elevate themselves by saying like they are not nature, and that then this rationality and the how it came to be that thinking and nature and rational and nature were two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And men decided like they were related to thought and woman would be kept as nature. And as I realized that your explanation and the idea that I've been more in touch with are opposed, then it kind of makes me realize how we have tried to figure out an explanation to this, and we still don't have it, right? And it's so heartbreaking because you can see this in wars. You can see how women have been weaponized during wars, and they have been kidnapped, and in order to defeat their enemies. And you can see this in cities in Mexico, where you can find literally bodies totally destroyed in waste bags in rivers. And you can also see that when I was doing my dissertation in the university, I came to my first kind of intuition of intersectionality, because I had not read about intersectionality at the time. but somehow I had this intuition that it was not only gender, but it was also women who were poor, women who were from specific ethnicities, women who were working class, and but then you see again like recent research in Mexico that shows that actually women who are used for human trafficking have different physical characteristics, right? So they tend to be taller and skinnier than the average Mexican woman. So as I see data and as I read more of the different sorts of violence that women experience, and as I go to my own personal history and family history with my grandmother as a pastor and my aunts and my own family, like I definitely don't find an explanation to this, but I do feel like it's something that needs to stop. I mean, I read about girls, right, and the rapes, and so I don't even have the words, but the work, like we are doing a lot of work with feminist organizations in Mexico. We are trying to push for a project on understanding the narratives that sustain this discrimination, this gender violence, these femicides. But I see the work that these organizations do around me, even now with trans women who we are also working with, and the different violence, the violence they face. So for me, it's something that I cannot even grasp totally, because it's such a terrible thing that we are facing in Mexico and around the world.
And maybe it's like, here's the school of thought at that point, which is why women are disposable, evolved into this school of thought, evolved into this school of thought. So like thinking about what you're saying, I do remember the narrative about like man dominating over nature. And if we are nature, then that means that we're like, and then maybe we were somehow decoupled from it completely so that you could still be a tree hugger and rape or murder, like, you know, women. It like, I wonder if we're sort of searching for a why, as though there's a singular why, when there are multiple whys, and I wonder if there are evolutions of those whys. I know that a scholar who I love, Resma Menaken, talks about the evolution of oppression in order, like that it comes from a place of I just don't want it to be me. So if what isn't me, how do I protect myself? And so I embody a different way of being, and then that becomes a practice and culture of one way of being. And then it's cemented into society. So I'm wondering if our grasp for the one reason is calls us into there can't just be one, right? Like there have to be so many others. Yeah.
Totally.